Today we're talking about lesson 4.5, which actually just builds on what you guys learned yesterday in lesson 4.4. You'll notice that the learning goal sounds very familiar to what you've already done, right? Did we use the draw, divide, and check method yesterday? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and today we're going to do the same thing just to solve word problems. But did you already do that to solve word problems in your homework? Yeah, so it's actually very similar to what you did yesterday, which is good. I did this on purpose because I want to make sure, since I wasn't here yesterday to record a video and teach the math lesson, I want to make sure we talk about it together, okay? But first, let's talk about the problem of the day. Okay, it says a total of 2 yards of fabric is used to make 5 identical pillows. How much fabric is used for each pillow? Well, let's use the 1, 2, 3 thing first. So what is the question asking us to find? Michael, have a seat and then tell us, what is the question asking us to find? Yeah, we're trying to figure out how much fabric they need to make each pillow. Roni, what important information do we need?
A total of 2 yards.
Okay, there's 2 yards of fabric altogether.
And 5 identical pillows.
Good. So let's start by drawing a picture. We can draw a tape diagram. And how much fabric do we have altogether? 2 yards. So we'll go ahead and label that whole thing 2 yards. Now, we have to divide that up into how many pieces?
5.
5. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. Now, as part of the drawing, I want us to write that 2 yards is equal to how many units?
5.
5 units. Therefore, 1 unit is how much? 2/5. Good. So we want to make sure that we label our drawing 2/5 so that we know that each section is 2/5. Okay? Okay, now let's move on to the divide. What should our whole be? What's our whole? What number are we dividing into smaller chunks? Jack? 2. And then we're dividing that by what? 5. Our divisor's 5. So if that's our division equation, which number lives inside the house? 2. Which one's knocking on the door?
5.
How many times does 5 go into 2? 0. What's 0 times 5? 0. So how much is left over?
2.
How can I express that remainder of 2 as a fraction? Arun?
You can put the remainder as the numerator and the one that's knocking on the door as the denominator.
Right, the divisor is the denominator and the remainder is the numerator, so my answer is 2/5. What would my label be? 2/5 what?
Yards.
2/5 yards. Okay. Now if I want to check, what multiplication equation could I use? I know that 2 divided by 5 is 2/5. That's what we got so far. So how could I check my work? Zeev? If I multiply 2/5 times 5, is that the same thing as doing 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5?
Yes.
Okay, so if I have 2/5 and I add another 2/5, how many fifths do I have?
4/5.
If I add another 2/5, how many do I have? And then another 2/5? And then another 2/5? 10/5. So 2/5 times 5 is 10/5. Can I write that in a simpler way? What does that equal? 2. Is that the number we want? Yeah, because it matches up with our whole. So I could put a check, meaning I checked that off.
Uses 4 pints of ice cream to make 6 sundaes. How many pints of ice cream are used for each sundae?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how many pints of ice cream are in each sundae. So let's go ahead and draw a picture first. Label your paper draw, so you know that you're drawing. And how much ice cream do we have all together? 4 pints. So my tape diagram, I should label it what? 4. Yeah, 4 pints. And I'm dividing those 4 pints into how many different sundaes? Lakshan? 6. So how could I draw that on my diagram?
You divide it by 6.
I need to divide it into 6 sections. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. And I'm trying to figure out how big one section is. So I can write that 4 pints is equal to how many units?
6.
6 units. So how much is in 1 unit? If I have 4 is 6 units, how much is 1 unit? 4/6, which is equal to what? In simpler terms? 2/3. Good. So I know that 2/3 is 1 unit. Okay. Now, what if I want to divide? Which number is the whole and which number is the divisor? I want you to talk to your table group. How do you know which one's the whole and which one's the divisor? Yeah, I love how Drew said you can think about this problem actually happening in real life. So picture your favorite ice cream store silently in your head. And then imagine 4 pints of ice cream. A pint is like the small sized, like the one that Ben and Jerry's come in or Haagen-Dazs. Those ones are pints. Okay? So imagine that, and you have 4 of them. And they're being divided up to serve into 6 different sundaes. So what's being divided? The 6 sundaes or the 4 pints?
4 pints.
Yeah, that's what's being shared, which means that which one's the whole? 4. So when we divide, let's put the whole inside the house. So that's the 4. And then the divisor's knocking on the door, which is what? 6. Okay, good. So how many times can 6 go into 4? 0. And 0 times 6 is? 0. What's left over? 4. So can we write a remainder of 4 as a fraction? We put the remainder over the divisor, so it's 4/6, which then can be simplified to 2/3. Okay, how might I check my work? How might I check my work? Danielle?
You can do
2/3 times 6.
That
Should equal 4. Now this is 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3. How many times do I have to repeat the addition?
6.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6. Okay, if I have 2/3 and I add another 2/3, what do I get?
4/3.
Okay, if I add another 2/3, what do I get? 6/3. If I add another 2/3, I get
8/3.
another 2/3, 10/3, and then my last 2/3 gives us a total of 12/3. Can I simplify that?
Yes.
That equals
4.
4, and I want that to be my whole. Is it my whole?
Yes.
Good, so check, we are confident. For number 3, it says the ice cream shop uses 6 bananas to make 4 identical sundaes. How many bananas are used in each sundae? Now, before we solve that problem, I want you to talk to your table group. How does problem number 3 compare to problem number 2? I know one's about bananas and one's about ice cream, but beyond that, how are these 2 problems the same or similar, and how are the 2 problems different? Talk. What's similar between problem number 2 and problem number 3, Alexander? They're the same but different. So what about them is the same? Can you be a little bit more specific?
It's basically a switcheroonie.
A switcheroonie. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Dividend and the divisor.
Huh. So Alex is saying they're similar because they both have the same numbers, a 4 and a 6.
Yeah.
Okay. But that they're different because before, what number was the whole? 4, because 4 pints of ice cream were being divided. This time, what number is the whole? 6, because 6 bananas are being divided by 4 sundaes. Good. So let's draw. We're going to draw our tape diagram, our handy-dandy tape diagram. And Aditi, what should we label our tape diagram?
The whole thing is 6 bananas.
The whole thing is 6 bananas, yeah. And we're going to divide those 6 bananas into how many different sundaes? 4. Okay. So go ahead and divide your tape diagram into 4 sections. Then, of course, we have, let's write the stuff about the units. So 6 was divided into how many units? 4 units. So therefore, 1 unit is what? 6/4. Good. And can we simplify that? 1 1/2. Good. Okay, so therefore we know that one of these is 1 1/2. Okay? Okay. Now, if we're going to divide, Aditya, what number goes in the house?
The number that goes in the house is 6.
You're right, our whole. Very good. And who's knocking on the door, Vasisht?
4.
4. How many times does 4 go into 6, Michael? 1 time. Good. And then 1 times 4, Aaliyah, is?
4.
4. And then when I subtract, Alona, how many do I have left?
2.
2. And I can write that remainder, Arhan, as a fraction by putting it over the divisor and getting?
1 2/4.
Exactly.
Also equal to 1.5.
Very good. Okay. We're almost there. We're 2/3 of the way there. We've drawn. We've divided. All that's left is to check. Tara, what 2 numbers could I multiply to check my work?
You can do 1 1/2 times 4.
Right, which is the same as 1 1/2 plus 1 1/2 plus 1 1/2 plus 1 1/2. So let's do the whole numbers first. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is? 4. Good. 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 is? 2. 4 plus 2 is? 6. Do we like that answer?
Yeah.
How do we know that we like that answer? I mean, I do like the number 6, but how come we know in this case we really like it? Itai?
Because 6 is our whole.
Yeah, because 6 is our whole, which means we can put a check mark, meaning I am confident, Miss O, that I did my work correctly.